Hey everyone, this is Connor Smith, president of Mountain View High School Model United Nations, here to teach about what is possibly the most important part of a Model United Nations conference, and that would be writing and forming the resolution. Now, when you go into a conference, you may be asking yourself, I'm going to go through a lot of debate, I'm going to be doing a lot of research on the subjects, but what is my ultimate goal here? And the answer to that question would be the resolution. The resolution is basically not only an outline of why you think you need to fix the problem at hand, but what you want to do about it. Now, in some cases, this can mean you want it to stay the same and you can put measures in to keep it the same. In other cases, you want to entirely change everything, outline the grounds for why you want to change everything, and then suggest a solution to changing everything. And the way this works is you're going to want to get with others in the committee, your allies, you're going to want to know who your country sides with at the conference. Get with them, find people of similar interest, and write out this resolution with them. And so I'm actually going to now get into what a resolution really looks like. And so all of you at this point in your binder should have something that looks like this. And it is the draft resolution guidelines. And so this is basically like your cheat sheet for actually writing a resolution, and yes, you can have it actually at the conference. And so basically what happens with the resolution is during a suspension of the meeting, which is basically a motion, it is a motion that stops all debate and all discussion, and all the delegates are allowed to get up, move around, talk with others, and then draft resolutions that are ultimately taken to a member of the dais staff up front, put into a template, delivered back to the room with a copy for everyone in the room, and then it's voted on and discussed and debated and all of that. Okay, and this happens about, I would say even before, like about halfway through the conference, because this is your ultimate goal. And so the first part of a resolution that you need to know about is the preambular phrase. And the preambular phrase is why you feel that this resolution is necessary. And it's always going to start with words, as you can see on screen, like affirming, alarmed by, approving, aware of, believing. You're basically saying why you think this needs to happen. And so for the duration of this entire practice, we're going to be using the subject of an extra period or an extra class in the school day, because I believe that's something that everyone can relate to that's watching this video. Now, regardless of what you believe and regardless of what I believe, I'm going to take the position that we do need an extra period in the day. And so as I go through, I'm going to start typing out this resolution. And so the first thing that everything needs, obviously, so we're going to start with what we have is just a blank sheet entirely, okay? And we're going to want to say, like, first thing we want to do is subject of resolution. And then we would say extra period during the school day. Okay? And normally all those would be capitalized. Then we have submitted to, and this is double spaced. And let's just say the General Assembly for now. If you're actually in an assembly, for example, GA4, GA6, that's exactly what this would say. Submitted by. There's a difference between sponsors and signatories when writing a resolution. A signatory is one who approves of considering your resolution, even if they didn't help write it. A sponsor is someone who actually helped write this resolution. For example, that group of kids that's gathered around the laptop over in the corner talking about what to write, those are the sponsors. Okay, and so I'm going to say, assume that I am right now the Republic of Botswana, and say, I really got some help from Argentina. Okay, so I'm just going to put Argentina and the United Kingdom, and even Spain. Okay, all these people helped me write this. I have no idea what they would actually say. This is just for an example. Okay, and that would be the heading of our resolution. And then as we go down, you would just want to indent once and then say who you are addressing this to. And so we would say to the General Assembly. And at this point, this is where our preambular clauses would come in. So, for the subject of an extra period during the day, we're going to start with something that says why we feel this should happen. And so we're going to say concerned, and yes, this part is in italics, the rest is not. Let's say with the low standardized testing scores, and then we just put like low international, since this is of course multiple countries, with low international testing scores. You would go on to your next preambular phrase then, so say acknowledging an abundance of time after school, whether this is true or not, I am just using examples right now. And then recognizing the desire of certain students to take more classes, fully believing that extra classes would improve college acceptance rates. Ignore the grammar error. Emphasizing the importance of varied coursework during high school, allowing students greater freedom of choice. And I think that accurately sums up, and you probably all get the point of what we're kind of going for right now. Basically, these are the reasons that the Republic of Botswana, I would say, wants these extra periods, okay? And so if I believe that the international standardized testing scores are really low, maybe this extra period would fix that. You know, the abundance of time after school allows for that. The desire of certain students to take more classes, you know, supports this. The fact that it would improve college acceptance rates makes this a good reason to happen. So before I actually even get into suggesting that there should be an extra period during the day, I want to say why, what grounds this is based on, where I am coming from, and what kind of idea I have. Okay? The preambular phrases are always necessary. You can have as many as you want, but they are an equally important part of your resolution. After that, you would go into your operative clauses. And so we're going to go back to our guidelines right here real quick. And you can scroll down to operative phrases. An operative clause now is actually what you're recommending we do, the solution to this problem, and what your country wants to see happen. Okay, now this can be in the form of multiple suggestions, or it can be one very broad, big suggestion that's very detailed. And so this would start, of course, with words like accepts, affirms, approves, emphasizes, proclaims. Keep in mind that United Nations cannot actually do anything in the General Assembly, and so you have to phrase everything in the form of a suggestion. So as welcomes, urges, requests that blank happens. Okay, and so in the mind of our extra period during the school day, we would go down here, and now all of these are going to be preceded by numbers with the same indent. So we would start with 1. And let's just say what I want. We calls for the addition of 1 extra period during the school day under the conditions that. Okay, and then we would just put that. Sorry for my italicizing. And then we would do a subscript, ultimately, that would say, okay, A, such a class is entirely optional, and B, credit requirements remain the same. And I'll just add that I have done no research on this subject. It was entirely random. And so basically what I'm saying is my idea is that we have this extra period during the day, but it's optional, and credit remains the same. And so not only am I saying my suggestion, but I'm going detailed, I'm elaborating, I want to make it clear to everyone how this is going to happen, why it's happening, and what way I want to make this happen. Okay, so in an actual conference with research, you might even want to have a lot of these. I've seen subs that go down to the middle of the page. You could have subtext to that. Okay, now the most important part of this is you don't only need 1 suggestion. And so just to demonstrate this, I'm going to think of another suggestion real quick. So let's say urges high schools to integrate new and varied electives into the school curriculum. And now you may be saying, well, how does this relate to 1 extra period? And you could argue that by maybe saying with an extra period, students have more chances to take electives, which can maybe improve their career choices or push them towards a certain job, allow them to basically experiment more in high school. And, you know, that even be something that you want to add up here, saying, like, recognizing the importance of students' need to experiment in high school to prepare for career. Okay, and that would go under preambular, but right now we are suggesting solutions. So urges high schools to integrate new and varied electives into the school curriculum. And then we'll have our sub, because you always usually want to have one. And let's say, okay, encourages the implementation of more AP classes for students wishing to take more AP tests. Since I know for those of you that are AP students, you look at the AP tests, there's a lot of them that aren't even offered at our school. So maybe, just maybe, with this extra period, we could add more of those. Of course, you'd have to factor in, number of teachers and how that works with that. Like I said, no research done here. This is just how a resolution would look. And if you did do that research, you would definitely want to include the research. And then let's say that you want to even go into further that. Okay, even further into that. You would say recommends, and you would do the sub I, recommends all AP language classes be offered. And let's put foreign language just to make myself clear. Foreign language classes be offered. Okay, and the reason for this you might want to put under your preambles, foreign language is a big part of college selection. Foreign languages are important to the individual for world experience. That would all go under preambles, of course. But that would be your actual recommendation. All AP foreign language classes be offered. Since I know at our school specifically right now, some of the language classes don't even go up to AP, whereas a lot of students wish they actually did. Okay, and then say you wanted even one more suggestion, because at the actual conference, these can get really long, since there are multiple countries working to get what they want. And so each country eventually kind of has their own piece of the puzzle here. So say requests an available tutoring period for each respective subject during the day. And I know that's kind of broad right now, but bear with me. Basically, that's saying if you're going to have this extra period, maybe each teacher should offer a tutoring session. And it's similar to what II would be, but tutoring, I'm not actually going to say this is what I'm suggesting or go into that, but that's how you would phrase it. And as you can see, all of these are the operative clauses. And so just real quick, let's put those in red. Okay, and then we have our preambular clauses. So let's put those in another color. Let's say something contrasting like blue. Okay, and so those are the two parts of your resolution that are extremely important. Preambles saying why, and operative clauses that are actually calling for something. And you have up here all the countries that are willing to, or that did write this resolution, that had a part in it. That even means if they so much came up with this preambular clause right here, or they came up with this operative clause, or they even suggested an idea that is now on your resolution, they are considered a sponsor. And in order for a resolution to be submitted, you must have 20% of the delegation. This will vary from conference to conference. In fact, even the U of A conference changes it, but they will announce how much support you need. So a certain number of the delegation must be either a sponsor or a signatory. And once again, a signatory is listed on a separate sheet of paper that they provide, saying these are the people that want my resolution considered but did not help write it. And that doesn't mean you support the resolution, it just means you want it considered. And that's important to remember because very rarely are resolutions turned down for consideration. Okay, so those are the most fundamental and most important parts of a resolution. I will say that oftentimes these take a lot of time to make, and as you can see, most of this I made up on the spot. It probably isn't even true. It's probably not supported. That's okay, because when you go into the real conference, it will be supported. You'll have tons of research behind you and a lot of countries that want to get their objective made. And your goal as the representative of your country is to get your desires put down in writing in a resolution. And that's why when a resolution is ultimately passed, everyone claps. It's a big deal because you have basically succeeded at the conference if your interests are represented in a resolution. Okay? So that is essentially the most important part of the conference. Now, of course, then you would move into debate about this resolution, vote on the resolution, consider amendments for the resolution, but we'll get into all of that later. This is just writing the resolution itself, so you have an idea of what's going on, and so you can make sure that your beliefs as a country are represented accurately at the conference. So thank you for watching this video. I certainly hoped it helped with all your goals for Model United Nations. Keep in mind this is really relaxed. It can be really fun. I mean, you're basically creating your own little child that will be passed out to everybody and then voted on, something that everyone will see, and then if it passes, people clap for you. You might get a little spot in the Model United Nations newspaper that usually circulates around. So it is a big deal to have your resolution passed, obviously, because you have done what you came here to do. And so I hope this clarifies kind of what we do at Model United Nations when you're going to conference, what you're trying to achieve. We'll get in more, and you can check out other videos or come to some of the practice sessions if you want to know how we actually get into resolutions and then what you do with these resolutions once they're written. So thanks for watching this video again. Hope it helped, and hope to see you in the future writing some resolutions and at all the conferences. Thank you.